Well, this is going to be one of the most subjective videos I've ever done. Tokusatsu, as we all know, is pretty great. From the characters, to the action, to the cinematography, to the music. It all adds up to make a filmmaking style that has stood strong for over 6 decades. In these 6 decades, however, things have changed. Every one of those things I just mentioned has, but none have been more immediately obvious and recognizable as designs in Tokusatsu. Hey, that's just like the title of the video. This goes without saying, but while I will be talking as objectively as possible about some things, most of the video is going to be me rattling off my own personal opinions. And if you don't agree, good. At the end of the day, I'm just one guy online whose opinions matters less than yours. This is simply an opportunity for me, a person who has admitted on multiple occasions to not really be too critical or picky when it comes to creative topics, to try and speak my mind on what I do and don't like in Tokusatsu designs. And no, just because I do or don't like certain designs I will be going over, that doesn't mean I feel the same way about the shows or films they're from. Really, the designs are probably the single least important aspect in objective critical analysis of a piece of media anyway. So just take this video as a bit of fun and feel free to have a civil debate about how wrong I am about everything in the comments. With that said, we begin our journey dissecting the delightful and despicable doses of design directions with Godzilla. Really would have made that land better if there was a major Toku franchise beginning with D. But anyway, with this particular franchise, the only thing I can really give my thoughts on are the kaiju themselves. I mean, what else can I really add about other things in the series? The Maser tanks, the Super X's are cool. Yeah, okay. Starting with Godzilla himself, really, I don't think there's ever been a bad design. Every Godzilla is just different, even in the most subtle ways. The original having ears and fangs should be iconic, but this design continues to evolve. I'm personally not a fan of the ears, though that's only because I grew up alongside Godzillas without them. Shodai Goji still looks amazing, a masterpiece in design, showcasing the horrors of a monster created by man's hubris. As we continue to evolve with Godzilla, I grew to love Shoshingeki Goji. A lot of previous Godzilla suits looked a little derpy to me, specifically in the eyes, but Shoshingeki Goji captures what I liked about Shodai Goji while standing out in the Showa era. Meguro Goji is cute too. Look at his big little mouth. The Godzilla costume works as a key example as to how the design had changes made to benefit the people inside the costume. The original suit worn by Katsumi Tezuka and Haruo Nakajima was infamously dangerous to perform in, with the two men being at near constant risk of collapsing from the heat within the suit. Subsequently, future iterations of the design were made with less restrictive movements, which can be seen for instance in the visibly slimmer suit featured in Godzilla Raids Again. Even if the suits were still infamously difficult and taxing to perform for several decades, but at least the thought was there. It would be fair to say that designs in general in the Godzilla series didn't really start to get more experimental until the introduction of King Ghidorah, a departure from up to the point standard of animal that does/did exist but big. It's not necessarily a bad thing though. Giant monsters should look like giant monsters. Early Mothra is adorable, but I would be scared for my life seeing a giant moth butterfly thing. Shodai Anguirus is also iconic, being the first kaiju Godzilla fought. Not personally my favorite, but you can see some philosophy starting here, both in design and suitmation. Although, I absolutely love Shodai Rodan. It's such a simple design, but it's cool. It's a pterodactyl with a rigid chest, and it's still so menacing. It wasn't until the 70s and beyond that kaijus and aliens in the franchise started going radically away from their previous philosophy, for better or for worse. As much as it might pain some of you to hear, I'm not the biggest fan of this era of kaiju. I get what kaiju like Hedorah, Megalon, and Gigan are going for, but I guess they just don't appeal to me. I can't exactly point to reasons why either. Maybe they just don't look that great to me. Well, taste is subjective, and this is a very subjective video in the first place. I'm sure a lot of you enjoy it more than I do. But if there is one kaiju design I love from the beginning, it's Mechagodzilla. It's Godzilla, but metal. Come on, that's just always amazing. Usually amazing. The Heisei and Millennium era films would take on the approach of making these outlandish creatures as quote-unquote realistic as possible, moving away from the more out there designs of the later Showa era kaijus, something that I'm personally mixed on the Millennium Kaiju with. Megaguirus is fine, not really something I see having a good fight with Godzilla, and that movie proves it. Kiryu is cool, I guess, but Biollante might just be one of my favorite kaijus ever. Its different stages each create a terrifying image of what man created through the destruction of nature alongside Godzilla. Shin Godzilla famously reinvents the titular creature into one that evolves over time. Now that's a true king of the monsters, as well as the embodiment of mankind's mistakes and horrors. The glowing red of his skin and small arms make the design so off, but in a very good way. Even the smaller eyes are menacing, cause they're meant to look empty, as if it doesn't care how many people are in its way. I'm not a fan of its previous forms, but the actual Shin Godzilla we do know is a masterpiece of art. That's not even going in depth with its final form and its tail. It's a monster in constant pain, and that makes it even more terrifying. The legendary MonsterVerse films have designs that you can tell reflect what they're able to do with the increased budgets, and they look great. I say redesigns, but they're more or less just like the Showa suits, except in really good CG. This is my favorite iteration of Rodan. King Ghidorah looks amazing, Mothra's okay, and Godzilla is the giant monster I expect him to be. The original monsters are really cool too. Even if the names are a little lame, like Muto, come on, you couldn't think of something better? They're obviously not the first time Godzilla has been seen stateside, as we all know of the 98 Zilla design. I'm not sure if this is controversial, but I do like the design. Like, it's not really Godzilla per se, but as a kaiju and as in the movie, it's a king of the monsters type of thing, it does look really cool. I love how menacing it is. I love that it's slouched over, giving it the more T-Rex, something more primal, a primal-like design. It's not just good, it's an interesting take on what a king of the monsters could be. And it's just not the live-action version. I really like how more iguana-like it feels in the animated show. Speaking of the animated show, there were a few other Godzilla, such as Godzilla Earth from the trilogy on Netflix, if you even remember that one. Even though he only appears for like 2 minutes, oh my gosh, Godzilla Earth is just one of the coolest ideas and concepts ever made. Not even just for Godzilla, but for kaiju. This is the biggest Godzilla has ever gotten, and it is a masterpiece. Of course the shows weren't, but hey, oh my gosh, I could just have an entire wall posters of Godzilla Earth, and oh man, it's just such a neat design. I love this thing so much. So of course, out of Godzilla's main designs, my absolute favorites would have to be Shodai Goji, Shin Godzilla, and Godzilla Earth. Moving on to the Ultra series now, let's just get one thing straight. No, Ultramen do not all look the same. Mako even has a video about it. Can you honestly confuse Ace with Jeed? Yes, there's generally a consistent color scheme between them, but is that really such a bad thing? The only outliers from this are obviously the original Ultraman, Zolfi, and Jack, but even then, all three have recognizable features to distinguish them from one or another. There's of course the production history reasons as to why they look the same, but that's not what this video is about. Again, watch Mako's video, it's really good. The original Ultraman's beauty is in its simplistic but instantly iconic look. I mean, considering the amount of Japanese media that pays homage to the character, the design is surely one that stands the test of time. The exact same can't be said for Ultra 7, designed more so to resemble medieval armor. 7 provided a similar but completely different take on what an Ultra can look like, to the point where both he and the original Ultraman have been used as the design basis for pretty much every Ultra that appeared after them, up to a certain point at least. Tiga was the first mainline Ultra to introduce more variation into the color scheme, a welcome evolution to the existing design. Even to this day, Ultras differ from other Toku heroes in that they don't really have a design motif per season, at least not one as plainly obvious as something like dinosaurs or cars, which definitely makes them stand out amongst the crowd. The new generation heroes all share something in common that unifies them. All of them were designed by one man, Masayuki Goto, who to me has made some very, Very cool designs. Ultraman Orb Spacium's Hyperion is just such a gorgeous suit with all the colors it has. Of course, it's paying homage to Tiga as well, but man, the armor on an Ultra looks so beautiful. And even going into Orb Origin, who has more design philosophies based on the previous Ultras, also stands out very much due to the color timer being an orb, or, well, a ring. Ultraman Jeed's eyes resembling Belial for story reasons. Ultraman Rosso and Blue, and Grigio for that matter. Oh my gosh, they look similar because they're supposed to, but they still stand out so much, not just with color, but the designs and their power-ups. And Ginga, oh my goodness, those light up parts and the aqua blue other parts on him, it is beautiful. All of these new gen Ultra designs have been phenomenal. Yes, even Taiga. Some of my favorite Ultra designs are definitely Ultra 7 for Showa, Mebius for Heisei, and Blazar for new gen. Does that count as new gen? Are Reiwa Ultras their own thing aside from new gen? Oh well, whatever. And I know someone's going to bring up Ultraman Leo, but I'm just going to put it out there now. I don't like Leo's design whatsoever. I kind of like Astra, but Leo is just one of the worst to me. Sorry. The whole eye people thing that Seven, Taro, Leo, and Astra have going on is certainly a decision that benefits the suit actors. But in terms of looks on the characters in general, they're pretty neat. Like, yeah, there's a suit actor thing, but it also delves a bit deeper into Ultraman anatomy. Although the coolest thing they've ever done for these quote-unquote peoples is with Ultraman Rising. Like, his eyes are lit up, so whenever he moves his pupils, the eyes move too. Oh my gosh, that's so creative and so cool. I love it. There are other strange quirks with Ultra stuff, like how in the 70s, returning Ultras from previous seasons would just straight up have unhidden and plainly obvious gloves and boots with the zipper sometimes front and center. Or how Taro's design is clearly based off Ultra 7, yet his biological parents are based on Ultraman, Zoffi's ever-changing suit design throughout the entire franchise, things like that. But what about the kaiju and aliens? Despite there being so many, the kaiju that are iconic are for good reason, namely cause they look super rad. The Cydrixar was on who wrote super rad into the script. I'm just reading it, okay? Hey man, I don't say rad anymore. Or maybe I should, I'm an old man. To name a few, you know what? I could just name a whole list, not just a few. Oh my gosh, King Joe, Ella King, Nova, Zeton, Belial? Would Belial count as a kaiju? I mean, I know he's an Ultra, but Belial's like monster designs? Oh my gosh. Heck, you know what? I could just say the entirety of Showa Ultra Kaijus are so good. Oh, no, wait. If you want to go beyond that, if you want to go into like the cosmic horror stuff, oh man, I could talk about that forever. Oh my gosh, like even in Showa, like the cosmic horror type of Kaijus are so good. And not even just like the designs. I know we're talking designs here, but like their monster growls, like Prisma, oh my gosh, like its sound is just so haunting. Or if you want to go with like the super scary kaiju, Nexus has so many horror-y type of monsters. I had no idea how they even go through with that. Even more recent shows like Blazar and Arc have some pretty scary monsters. Also, there's Dinosaur Tank. Never forget Dinosaur Tank. I should also probably bring up the smaller things like the transformation devices. Ultraman, ironically enough, is one of the few shows where I don't really think it should have collectible gimmicks, anything like that. Blazar is probably the best to do it since its gimmicks are very limited and I much prefer it that way. But when we do have a gimmick, they're like not terrible. Like I guess Orb is the best one I could say. It's their cards. You put it into the really cool looking orb ring. It does a neat little sound. Cool. But then we get to like Rube, and while I love the Rube gyro personally, the crystals being just little circles with a face on it, I could probably do without that. And even the most recent show, Ultraman Arc, a singular cube is fine, but then it starts to become a collectible gimmick, and at that point I feel like it could have just been the Arc transformation thing without a gimmick at that point. Oh, but I do like Ultraman Ginga's, the Ginga Spark Lancer, I believe it's called. I do really like that because it not only combines a gimmick, but also combines the toys with or like figures with the gimmick, and that's just really smart. And even if you don't want to have like the figure with it, just the toy as a lance itself looks pretty neat. Ultraman X is cool too in that department. I just wish it didn't have the cards and the toys. It should have just been one or another. Okay, that's enough about the toys. I don't really like talking about Ultraman toys in the first place. And we can't forget how cool the defense team uniforms are. I wish I had a whole set of these. Every single one is a banger. Like, oh my goodness, I could rock any other defense team uniforms. Every single one just looks good. Yes, every single one. Guts is probably my favorite.
Alright, it's Kamen Rider time. Now, as we all know, Riders are pretty much exclusively based around insects for the best part of 30 years. No matter the context of its power, it near enough always led to what can be best described as a mechanical bug. That mix of natural and synthetic elements that was prevalent in the evil organizations that plagued the Showa era seasons. Adding to the theme from a visual standpoint of one of their own creations using the evil power they granted the heroes with for good. At least, that reasoning works for some of the Showa writers, since contrary to popular belief, not all Showa writers were created by Shocker or in a like force kidnapping and converting someone into a karate bugman, such as Amazon, as shown before, who visually reflects the, Amazon jungle environment he was raised in, or how Super One's creation came from a voluntary operation to convert Kazuya Oki into the ultimate astronaut by a completely benevolent group of scientists. Something that I'm telling you about because I'm willing to bet at least 90% of the people watching this video don't actually know anything about Super One other than the Takasugi scandal. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way either, because my writer wrote all that, and I didn't know that until now. So, yeah. Anyway, I know Showa Rider's designs are legendary. They're iconic. They're probably one of the first thing you think of for Japanese superheroes. They're also very old. Yeah, it's no secret that I'm not personally a big fan of Showa Rider suits, or even just Showa-era suits in general. I respect that they're iconic designs, but go past the year 2000 and things have just changed for the modern era. Although there are quite a few Showa Rider suits I do like, Ichigo is genuinely timeless, even if he's the first writer. Anyone can imagine that bug helmet with antennas. It's a masterpiece of a design. I have a huge bias towards Z-Cross just because I really like his special, but I like the suit well enough too. Black is very iconic for reasons beyond just having a great show. That suit is beautiful. The RX suit is cool too, but base black is just gorgeous. Most other Showa era suits though, they're like fine, I guess. But for the life of me, I could not tell you off the top of my head any specifics about certain ones. Like, V3 has a puffy chest and green arms, I think? Or are they red arms? See, even off the top of my head, it's kind of hard to remember. Super One is silver and can change his gloves. His little tassels on his arms are cute. Rider Man shows half his face, which is more than the amount of screen time he actually has. Oh man, Sky Rider sucks. I'm his biggest hater. This suit is awful. Moving on, I already mentioned Black RX, though I should also mention the other in-between writers like Zero, Jay, and Shin. Anyone who thinks Ultraman look the same, I dare you to guess the difference between Zero and Jay. I mean, someone completely brand new has never seen Zero and Jay, try to guess the difference. Shin's practical effects are also neat. Shama's suit fell apart and now he's just a statue, kinda like Gil's. Actually, now that I mention it, I really miss when parts on suits moved. Not like that happened too often anyway, and I understand that it does cost quite a lot for fragile parts so it'd only be shown a couple of times. As we continue into the Heisei era, we can see a greater emphasis be placed on making the designs more metallic, more armor-like, and just generally more like something people that battle monsters on a daily basis would wear in combat. Yes, they may not have that unifying factor anymore, but that's totally fine, as it allows for a greater breadth in what could be done. While that's certainly a good thing in principle, throughout the Heisei and now Reiwa eras of the franchise, there is certainly still a large amount of designs based on animals overall than ones that aren't. Not that it's a bad thing, but some may see that as something of a self-imposed limitation. In saying that, when they do something unusual, it adds a very unique spin, such as some seasoned writers having pre-base forms like the Dano writers' platforms, or entry forms for the Geach writers that can be added on top of to create more elaborate forms, which, once again, is really neat. With there now being more of an ability to experiment with the motifs of the designs, however, it can certainly lead to some unique and just overall designs I really like. I think Heisei riders are a great evolution from Showa. Most of the Heisei ones are still simple, but adding just a little bit of armor makes a big difference. Kuga is iconic for a reason, not to mention Agito, Ryuki, Kabuto, and Kiva for Phase 1. As for Phase 2, gosh, you can really name any of them, and I can give you a whole essay as to why their designs are that good. Quite literally, as I have. And the same kind of goes for Reiwa, but there are some suits that feel like they're doing either too much or not enough. Revi, Vice, Gotchard, Gav, Zets, maybe to some extent Saber. Oh wow, that's basically all of them. Still, I don't think they're terrible for the most part. I think maybe. I mean, it's a consistent point of discussion that lead up to a new rider show being revealed as to what the design of the main rider is going to be, which only serves to prove how important this aspect is to people. Even after all this time, two main facets of a main rider's central design has remained unchanged, even if you may not have noticed them. Those being large exaggerated compound eyes and two long protrusions extending up over the forehead. Non-primary riders though, yeah, they do whatever they want with those. There's just way too many to list that I think are incredible. Gosh, I think secondary designs alone could be their own videos. Now that I'm thinking about it off script, I'm pretty sure I could name like every single secondary and they would all have good ones. G3, Knight, Kaiza, Ibuki, Gatak, Zeronos, Ixa. Okay, Ixa is probably my least favorite, but wow, the Heisei Phase 1 are just all great. Phase 2, Beast is probably my least favorite, but everything else is still really good. Like I said, I could probably just do this on its own video. We should also bring up things like the belts, gimmicks, and rider machines, though I have made a video before about those specifically, so I'll just go for quick thoughts here. The simplicity of the Showa belts are fantastic. I love them, for the most part. Heisei Phase 1 still feels simplistic with a tiny bit of experimentation, and while I don't love them, I do like them. Faiz is probably one of the best here, as well as Ryuki. Is it wrong to say I'm not the biggest fan of the Kuga belt? Heisei Phase 2, well, you know. Gimmicks galore, but not bad at all. I don't think I dislike any belts or gimmicks here. Meow. Why did I write meow? What the heck? Okay, so Reiwa has been extremely hit or miss for me. The 01 driver is gorgeous, and its keys are a lot of fun. The less I say about Saber, Revice, and Gav, the better. At least the Desire driver is cool. And I have nothing to say about rider machines, other than they're neat. Super Sentai, and by extension Power Rangers, designs are like in between Ultraman and Rider, but Sentai is more uniform. I mean that also in a meta sense. You see a group of colorful heroes and you might immediately think of Sentai Rangers. That alone is pretty neat in a branding kind of way. That said, yeah, the suits are iconic for a reason. Just look at Zyuranger. Power Rangers has been looking at Zyuranger for over 20 years. Other suits deserve a lot of love too. Just look at the glowing parts on Bioman and Time Ranger. The simplicity of Goranger and Jacko work well for their motifs. Battle Fever J was trying something different. Yeah, it sure was. Goldbusters is notable for having leather suits instead of spandex, and you can see more experimentation in the modern day. It's interesting that a lot of suits work very well individually, but they're meant to be a team, and they still look beautiful in a variety of colors. That includes 6th Ranger designs. The consistency in how each Ranger team does fit well together, while still giving each member a unique variation on the body and helmets, is admirable. Plus, unlike any other Toku franchise, they have the most variety in terms of design motifs. The standard animals, of course, but also really out there concepts like pirates, crystals, and ancient civilizations. To list off some of my favorites, I'd say Cure Major has that perfect mix of simplicity with modern experimentation. Dawn Brothers, specifically Dawn Momotaro, is a masterpiece of a design, and man, the Zyuranger designs are just so good, I don't even mind that Power Rangers overuse them, right? But there's equally ones I don't like as much, such as Goggle 5. Like, the bronze on the helmet stand out terribly. Battle Fever is usually pointed to as part of bad designs, specifically with Miss America. I think I can agree with that to an extent. Like, I definitely get what they're going for with the one-piece suit and hair, but I personally don't like the mask, and I kinda wish the legs were more covered. Not in a bad way, I just think it would be a reference to, like, 80s jazzercise, which didn't exist yet. Other than those, I don't think there are outright any bad suits, just different ones. Dawn Brothers. In terms of the mechas, man, older mechas have such a charm to them. I don't like them, but they have charm. Around the 2000s is where I think mecha designs reached their peak. Is that bad to say? Zyuranger, Kakuranger, Time Ranger, Go-Go 5, Gal Ranger, it's been hit after hit. Even seasons with lesser mechs like O-Ranger are still very iconic in their own ways. Not to say recent designs are bad either, it's just older ones have a charm and iconography that probably won't be topped until a new generation says so. That said, Dawn Oni Taijin is my favorite mecha of all time. Yes, it even tops certain Gundam like Crossbones. The transformation devices in Sentai and Power Rangers is something I also talked about in its own video, but here are some quick thoughts. They're much more varied compared to Kamen Rider toys. I mean that in a good and bad way. For one, I love the variety when there are wrist changers, phones, rings, full-on weapons, changers that don't connect to anything, those giant tubes from Jaka, even just spinning around is something Sentai does. The variety is great, but not every changer is a hit. As much as I love Kiramager, I think Kirame Silver's changer looks weird. That's something I can say about a lot of these devices. Boken Silvers, Die Rangers, the silly Burger Morpher, don't even get me started on the VS changers. Some of them are just, like I said, weird. They're not all bad though, cause again, the variety is a huge plus. In some ways, I wish Kamen Rider would do more than belts and the occasional weapon, but we'll have Sentai have this. But of course, Power Rangers has some unique things to offer on its own, and they're generally really cool. The Battleizers with six-pack abs are odd, yes, as well as the Battle Thong from SPD, but everything else is incredible. My personal favorite has to be Mystic Force, and wow, I just love the blue trimming on that. Plus, there are also the original suits like the Spirit Rangers, which are beautiful. And they better be beautiful because Plex had a hand in designing these. I should also mention the comic designs because I'm probably never going to talk about them any other time. But, wow. I really don't like these. Like, even if they were in live action, I don't think I would like them. If you can get with what I'm going here, it feels like the motif of these comic-specific suits is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Again, I'm not really sure how to word that, but it doesn't feel like the design is unique enough to be memorable. And I don't even mean compared to like Super Sentai. I mean compared to the generations of Power Rangers, I don't remember any of these. The Solar Rangers are the only ones that stand out, and that's because I saw them the most. Gosh, I really hate to say this, but a lot of the comic exclusive designs feel generic. Then there's the Cosmic Fury suits. Can we not? We briefly touched on modern redesigns in the Godzilla section, but what about the rest of them? All these share a common idea, trying to make these reinterpretations look more realistic by comparison to the originals, most of the time. By which I mean they add much more detail to the designs than what was seen in the original to make them look more like real things, keeping in mind the inherent unrealisticness of the characters, of course. Black Sun, Amazons, and the original Shin are writers that take the designs of the original suits and make them look more like mutant creatures straight out of a horror film, which I think is cool. Though I don't think I want to say much more than that. In comparison, Kamen Rider the First and the Next, along with the new Shin Kamen Rider, take the approach of just adding more detail to the original designs, as opposed to making them completely different, which I think is also cool. Yeah, I'll admit, the new Shin Kamen Rider suits really grew on me. The Ultra N project was made as a relaunch of the Ultra series for a slightly older demographic than the prior seasons. As such, the first Ultra from the initiative, Ultraman the Next from the 2004 film, was made as an equivalent to the original Ultraman, and he looks weird. Sentai's never really gotten a reboot in the same way, but Power Rangers did, and their designs are Power Rangers. Yeah, much like the comic designs, I think these are trying a little too hard. In a way, I get what they're going for, but it just feels like very focus group, like, what would an American teenage boy like? Just to end things off, we're gonna go for a lightning round of all the other Toku designs I can think of that I love and loathe. Oh wait, I just read that last part of the script. We'll just go over the ones I love. I don't think I outright hate any suits in Toku, I think. Garo. It's a Golden Knight, it's iconic, it's beautiful. Truly a masterpiece of a design. The other knights look cool too, but Garo is Garo. Metal Heroes. Good timing as Universe heroes are debuting with Gavan Infinity. So yeah, these are generally amazing. The sleek shiny suits are beautiful. Gavan, Sharavan, Shider, they're all really cool for a reason. Other metal heroes are great. Jiraiya, Jan Person, fights for justice. The Bee Fighters, even Kabutok in its base form is a great design. I really don't think there are any bad metal heroes, just okay ones. I'll leave those up for you to decide. Legend heroes. You should watch this show. Not only is its story amazing, but its suits are gorgeous. Legend hero Guan Yu is one of my favorite suits ever. Armor hero Hunter Stallion. I fell in love with this like the very first image I saw. Taro Man. Showa era in the modern day. I think this is perfection. Also, a very quick shout out to Toei Spider-Man. It's crazy how much a Spider-Man design can pop out just from the eyes. So yeah, as we've seen, Toku designs have definitely evolved over time, which is great. Every era of every franchise has a unique look that all have their fans. Maybe you prefer the simplicity of some designs, the sleekness of others, or the bombastic craziness of those ones over there. Whatever your viewpoints of them are, I think we can all agree that there's something out there for everyone. And if it looks interesting to you, maybe give the show or movie it comes from a watch. It may become your new favorite, and the design may mean even more to you once you know the story it comes from. While having discussions about the strengths and weaknesses of particular designs can be fun, as stated from the start, the suit, vehicle, mecha, or gimmick designs may be the most surface level thing and something that doesn't really matter to the overall quality of a given piece of media. But it does give a very important first impression. Please do keep in mind that whether you like a particular design or not, to judge the merits and drawbacks of a story is separate from them, because you never know. A design you really like may be from a show that you think overall kinda sucks, or vice versa. Moral of the story is, don't let the designs alone be the judge, jury, and executioner on whether you watch something or not. With that little PSA out of the way, I hope you got at least some enjoyment in hearing my irrelevant opinions on Toku designs. And of course, feel free to list some of your favorites and least favorites in the comments. I suppose we need to end the video now, so, yeah. Toku designs are cool. Wow, Cydrixar, you really got my outro there.